Rob, you're 100% correct. These lockdowns were not based on a single shred of science. We were and continue to be lied to. It's horrific, and it's all politically motivated. I'm a doctor, a neurologist. I am not a politician, but come on. It's not even a secret at this point. The goal here is really to make Americans as miserable and uncomfortable as they possibly can be, to try and ruin Trump's ability to get reelected. And it's actually very sinister because it's hurting a lot of people. These full-scale lockdowns imposed by state governments are causing tremendous, widespread human suffering, and on multiple fronts. As a result of the lockdowns, there are millions of people who are now unemployed. Millions. And a huge number of them have no prospects of working again. And thousands of businesses are closed and may never reopen. More Americans have become dependent on drugs, alcohol, getting divorced, having become clinically depressed, all because of the lockdowns. And I was just looking at the latest statistics before coming on here today, and it shows that half of Americans are now reporting that the coronavirus coverage on TV is what's directly harming their mental health. And a federal emergency hotline for people in emotional distress showed more than 1,000% increase in phone calls in just April alone. And this past month, over 20,000 people texted that hotline. And it's run by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration. Talkspace, the online therapy company, reported something around 65% increase in clients in just the last few weeks, and they know that it's specifically driven by people's anxiety from the coronavirus coverage on television. I mean, there have been so many prescriptions written for Zoloft in the last couple of months that it's now become on the shortage list of medications put out by the FDA. The FDA is literally telling patients and putting out advisories for people to make sure that they get their refills of Zoloft early and stay very close to their psychiatrist. I mean, so many Americans will have died of cancer because they couldn't get their cancer screenings because of the lockdowns. And an unknown number of people have taken their own lives in despair. And others are flooding streets to riot just because of bottled up rage and frustration. During the lockdowns, people whose loved ones died weren't even allowed to have funerals for them. Think about that. It doesn't get much crueler than that, but it happened. It's happening to a lot of people, and they claimed it was necessary. It's not necessary. It's all political theater. And aside from that, there's no science behind it. It's all phony. Look, the coronavirus turned out to be a dangerous disease for certain people in certain vulnerable populations, like so many other medical conditions are. But these lockdowns are more dangerous than the virus itself. The more vulnerable populations should be careful, just like they are with the flu. But the arbitrary lockdowns just create mass suffering amongst otherwise healthy people with very little risk. Everyone was lied to. You were told mortality rates were 2 or 3%. You remember seeing that on CNN and Cuomo quoting those stats? Now what are they saying? It's actually 0.04%, which is far less than the flu. But see, you have to listen really, really, really close to hear that information, because when they own the information, they can bend it all they want. Are you getting the picture here? The message? The message is that we were all played. We were all played. Corrupt politicians scared us into giving up control over the most basic rights in our lives. In other words, they used a public health emergency to subvert democracy and instill themselves basically as monarchs. And the sad truth is, they did it because we let them do it. Everyone believed them. Everyone was scared. So everyone just obeyed them. If there's anything good that could come out of this disaster, it's the hope that none of us will ever let them do this to us again.